Welcome to episode 14 of the Rosenthal and Jeselnik Vanity Project.
RJVP.
Number 14, special in your heart, Anthony, your lacrosse number back in the day.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Offensive coordinators getting fired off the shoulder of rivers. I watched D-lines glitter in the dark near the Golden Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. Time to die.
What a time to be alive. RJVP.
Barely.
Made it another week.
Barely.
The NFL listened to last week's show, and we're managing to do another. Felt like that one was, the quote I heard was, that went right up to the line.
Which I was surprised by. I thought we crossed the line several times, and I thought I would get a reaction. And I was surprised by the reaction that I got, surprised and a little infuriated. I don't know if we're even allowed to talk about it. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I thought that someone would talk to me after that one. Instead, they talked to you.
No, I think, probably the game plan is just hope this goes away without anyone getting fired in the meantime. And maybe come back next year, too.
There's no chance of that.
Get some money.
There is no chance.
What if they sell it, let's say, and you get paid?
Why have they sold it already?
What?
And what are they going to pay? What is it going to be?
I don't know.
That I couldn't make on the sidewalk right now if I walked out there and told two jokes.
You ever tried that before?
I'm a professional. Never had to, Greg.
They could send you.
Never had to.
Send you a car.
But that's how I feel doing this show here. I came in today, drove myself in again, and wasn't on the list to get in here. Had you come down and get me, which is shows the level of respect that I'm getting. I don't want to get into it too much. That was the problem last week. If you heard the episode last week, I spit some fire about the way I've been treated and respected on this, or lack of respect that I've gotten here at the NFL Network, and they were upset about it. And I would say that you were threatened over it, which
I would not say that.
Which of course upsets me to no end. But if you listened to the podcast last week, you heard things that I said the NFL got upset about. So this week I got to kind of button it up. We're not going to be able to say things like this. I'll say this: the NFL Network does not know how to appreciate talent. And that has come through more and more clearly. And there was I would say that like a line was drawn, and it was not crossed. I think if people aren't as talented as I am, they don't know how you're supposed to be treated. But you need to feel like you're appreciated. Yeah. And you cannot be what I'll go ahead and say is being screwed with. And you're a little bit to blame, but I forgive you immediately because you are my best friend. But the rest of the network. Best friend. That's why I'm here. That's the only reason that I'm here is because we're best friends, and I wanted to work with you. But I can only abide so much disrespect from the league, and it has been coming in waves and droves. And I'm out. Once you flip a switch mentally, you're done.
That was a long clip.
Yeah, that was a long clip from last week. Just an example of what we can't do this week per the NFL, what they frowned upon. They just didn't like that. They didn't like, let's say, they didn't like this. Everyone else at the NFL Network is a coward and won't come anywhere near me. And rightly so. I understand I'm a little intimidating, but I haven't spoken to anyone else. You're the only one I talked to. Yeah, that was from last week. I wouldn't say something like that this week just to protect Gregg's job. I won't go there.
I've lost total control of this show.
Yeah, you never had control. I mean, if you had control, then last week I wouldn't have been able to say this. And don't be sad. Just be happy that I ever did this, that I ever did any of you the favor of coming here to this, what I'm going to go ahead and call, in quotes, a network that does not know how to handle talent. And do this podcast with my best friend Gregg.
What is going on right now?
Yeah, those are just things. If you were tuning in this week to hear things like that, you're not going to.
Or if you were tuning in for the first time ever and you have no idea what we're talking about, go back and listen to the last episode, last 13, really, because we're a pair of friends. We're gonna talk about football
friends.
Eventually. We're friends.
It's best friends.
We're going to talk about football eventually on this show, some headlines and whatnot, but we wanted to get this housekeeping out of the way since these are our last, couple episodes and whatnot.
It's the final countdown. This could be it. I almost didn't come today once I heard the shenanigans that have been going on here.
Your emails to me have been more terse. just clearly ready to. But you're a pro. You're not going to pack it in. When it comes to bringing the funny, you're going to come.
Our friendship is my only concern. It's the only reason that the fans a little bit. I want to go out on a solid note. I either kind of want to get fired or get you fired. Those are my two options here. But yeah, we will get to football quickly. Just to talk about what did you do this week? Anything not having to do with this podcast?
No, my whole life pretty much just exists in relation to you. I just kind of unplug when I'm not around you.
Who do you love more, me or your wife?
I love my wife more.
You had to think about it. He had to think about it.
We had a nice weekend. It was a nice normal weekend. There was no football. Saturdays we went to the movies.
Yeah. Did she scald herself again?
Jeez. That's not nice.
I mean, I wasn't being mean. I was describing an incident that happened.
I'll let you know about it later. We traditionally do this later in the show, but I moved Walker into Ellis's room last weekend, so that was big for your god kids. Those are my two kids. They're now sharing a room, so those are some big things happening.
Nice. How was Ellis taking that? Is she liking it, or is she kind of upset that her territory is being encroached on?
She likes having.
Does Walker go in the teepee that I got Ellis?
No, not yet.
I got his Gregg's children a teepee to put in their bedroom, which I always thought if I was a kid, I would want a teepee, and I was right. She loves it. She loves me. She loves me more than you or your wife.
She can now recognize you in a picture, so that's a good step.
That's good. Well, I've given her so many pictures of myself that it's about time.
How about you? Anything the last week?
I've been doing a lot of shows, a lot of stand-up, building up new material. So if this podcast ever falls through, I have something to fall back on. I went to a friend of mine and my writing partner. I'm working on a TV show idea with a friend of mine, and we were like, let's go out and do something. Let's have fun. We'll go to dinner, and instead of just watching a movie, let's go do something. And he was like, do you want to go see Talib Kweli downtown LA? And I was like, yes, I love Talib Kweli. That'll be awesome. And we go to dinner at a really nice restaurant, Broken Spanish. If you've never been, it's a great Mexican food place. And then we get to this concert. It says doors at 8, show starts at 9. And I'm like, Talib Kweli is a pro. He's an older hip-hop guy. It's going to be like he's going to come on by 9:30. Show's going to be over by 11. I was very excited. Got there at 9:30. There were two and a half solid hours of opening acts, each of them terrible, each of them worse than the one before it. They would all come out and they would be like, all right, are you guys excited? No one was excited to see any of them. No one knew who any of them were. And then they would get bummed out. They'd be like, oh, you're just here to see Talib Kweli? Of course we are. And by 11, I look over. My friend is asleep next to me. He's sleeping.
You're sitting down.
We're sitting down. Yeah, we're in the back. It was kind of like a raised seating thing. I was going to get with the kids in the front. And I said, let's leave. I was like, it'll be more fun if we just leave before Talib Kweli gets on stage than it will be if we sit and watch the whole thing, because we were so annoyed. And we walked out. He was maybe minutes away from coming on stage. His DJ was up there. The lights had gone down. And we were like, screw it, hard out at 11:30. And walking out of that building was the best thing I've ever done. Better than any concert I've ever been to.
Better than the Mac Miller show we just saw a little while back.
Mac Miller was great because Mac Miller was professional. There was a real venue that wasn't just trying to sell drinks for 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours. Mac Miller came on, killed it, and left. That was great. That was a great show, even though you tried to ruin it by leaving the T-shirt that I got your daughter in a bar.
Oh.
Like a scumbag.
That was sad. Although I bought the shirt online after.
You bought a shirt, not the shirt.
It was close.
It was. Oh, Gregg. I hate you just as much as I hate the league. Let's go. What was cut?
Well water imported from Pluto, 360 milliliters for all the believers in miles of kilometers. Most cats cannot proceed us in the jungle with the leaders. We the lions, you the cheaters.
That was Talib Kweli, I assume.
Well, that was Talib Kweli and Mos Def, Black Star. Their album together, the first one, which was great. So that was technically Mos Def, but I figured you didn't hear Talib Kweli in concert. So
why'd you trick me? Why'd you say we're going to play some Talib Kweli and play Mos Def?
Black Star is basically the same thing.
Yeah, but why not play a verse from Talib Kweli?
Because Mos Def is better.
That's another controversial statement. This is why the NFL is mad at us, Gregg, because you say things like that without thinking about feelings. Let's do what was cut last week. I said I assume this was cut because of the way that I said it, the rage that I said it with. I said edited because we balled too hard. Which doesn't sound like that big a deal. I guess I was referencing doing a podcast with your old Droog on the NBA Network.
Yes.
And when I say it like this, when I say it in this order, it sounds kind of benign. But I guess I was full of rage.
The tone was bad. It was very reminiscent of Bill Simmons in his famous rant against Roger Goodell, which
shout out to Bill Simmons. We'll see you in heaven, Bill.
Which helped expedite his. I think he got suspended for that.
He said testicular fortitude.
Well, right. That was at the end, but there was one where he basically just challenged our fearless leader, and all of this is getting edited again.
Really? No, because that was what I did was fine. I just repeated it. It was benign. Oh, guys, if you got to edit it for your job, that's okay. But I think this was fine. Some regular swear words. I'm just gonna go ahead and say them because it's fun to do. I for a little while I was saying shh instead of, but you want that t, you want that k, you want those hard consonants at the end. That just saying shh was kind of weak. And then we cut an entire segment. We did 2 Ask Anthony's last week. One of them was about Last Comic Standing, and I kind of, if you followed me on Twitter during the whole Last Comic Standing thing, I was not happy with the edit, and I kind of raged against them, and I compared them to the network you're currently.
This is a trend that you wind up being upset with and getting in a fight with your employer.
No, we edited Last Comic Standing. It is a trend that I have. I bite the hand that feeds me many times, but I think that just means that some people don't know how to produce me. Because I've had bosses that I've loved. Shout out to Mike Shoemaker, now the showrunner at Late Night with Seth Meyers. When I worked on Jimmy Fallon, I told him every chance I got, he's the only authority figure that I haven't wanted to murder. But some people, some networks just don't know how to deal with me, and that's part of the challenge of dealing with a talent such as myself.
Or they do things like editing your email.
Yes,
yeah, that was trouble.
But you do not call yourself an authority figure over me. You are my best friend, and that's all.
That's
all.
Emma, my wife, when she heard that, she thought that was the funniest part. She loved the whole last podcast, but she thought that was the funniest part of the whole podcast was hearing that story, and thought that story really typified. That was our friendship in a nutshell.
Absolutely. I think that was
me trying to edit.
Yeah, and telling me afterwards, kind of sheepishly, like, "Oh yeah, I edited." Maybe this could be my last.
Just trying
podcast.
To save yourself.
This is very likely my last podcast. There's a chance I do 1 or 2 more going through the end of the Super Bowl. I don't know. I would like to not. I would have liked to have not come in this week, but I did.
Pushed
because of my best friend Gregg. Last thing that was cut from last week. This has been cut several weeks in a row. Talking about John Clayton and his relationship. Edited for.
Touchdown, Airbud.
Maybe that gets through. Brandon, what do you think?
Doubtful.
You guys are getting worse and worse as we go on. I can't believe the things you leave in versus what you take out. Whatever. Maybe that's the last what was cut. That's fine. Let's get to headlines.
Plus with the melodrama, fellas wanna hover in my sight, but like a helicopter, like it's a special honor. The stealth bomber, jam dropper, make the ghetto holler, intercontinental.
That was Talib Kweli for sure. I remember that song from college. That was one of the first Talib Kweli songs that Gregg introduced me to. Gregg was a big fan back in the day.
Move Something.
That was Move Something.
Oh yeah.
That was great. That was early Talib Kweli. Check him out if you have the time.
So we got to start with the big news in the NFL this week. The big game coming up. Everyone is talking about. Oh my God!
Get your party. Get your chips. Get your sandwiches. Get the platter. It is almost time.
And the preparation has begun for the 2016 Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl!
Oh, man, I am excited about this year. Team Irvin facing off against Team Rice. Just one of the most storied rivalries in the NFL. People, as we tape this on Wednesday, getting ready for the Pro Bowl draft. A lot of Pro Bowl mock drafts around, just wild.
I'm like a Jewish kid on Christmas. I'm so excited. I can't even believe. Oh God, the Pro Bowl is such a big event to me. Like when people talk about the NFL and they say the NFL is like the biggest league in the country. When they say football is the biggest sport in the country, they're really talking about the Pro Bowl. If it wasn't for the Pro Bowl, then I think this league would fold inside a month. Everyone just waits all year long. Who's gonna be in it? What's gonna happen? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna get picked? Who's gonna start? People love the Pro Bowl. The players love the Pro Bowl. It is the creme de la creme.
The state of Hawaii is just on fire this week. But let's move on, and at least for now, we'll try to distract ourselves. We'll talk a little bit about.
I can. What else is there?
What else happened, over the last week? And let's start in Denver, where what happened must have pleased Anthony. We haven't talked about this at all. I don't know if you watched the game live or what happened, but of course the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning, their great defense, took care of the New England Patriots. And they did it in a particularly vicious fashion, hitting Tom Brady 20 times in the game.
Crushed him.
Knocking him over. I mean, just domination up front. It was amazing they were still in this game. If anything, it was a memorable performance by Brady and Gronkowski to even get them in that position. But ultimately, you got to give the Broncos credit. And their pass rushers went to extraordinary lengths to humiliate Brady. One of them telling Robert Klemko of the MMQB that he tried to rub his dong on Tom Brady after the play. He tried to get on top of him and just rub him with the old dong.
Yeah, I support this move 100%. I love that he's an unnamed source. Like he was like, hey, I'm going to tell you this, print it, but don't use my name. But I support this move because Tom Brady is the Blarney Stone of dongs. Rub your dong on Tom Brady and you have good luck for the rest of your life. Now, did he actually rub his dong on Tom Brady or did he just try and fail? I guess we'll find out in the Super Bowl. If Denver wins, it's obvious. Tom Brady got a dong rubbed on him by one of the Denver Broncos. Who do you think it was? I have a guess.
I know who it was. It was Von Miller.
It was Von Miller for sure.
Of course it's Von Miller. What other player sack celebration is pelvic thrusts? He's obsessed with dong, putting his dong out there. I mean, I love Von Miller, but
everyone does. Von Miller's entire family rubbed their dong on Tom Brady during that game. Tom Brady loves Von Miller.
Does now.
There's a party tonight.
That was Kesha. Edited for Crack is Whack.
Brandon, our producer, was dancing during that entire segment, and then the second you made your joke, he just stopped.
Yeah.
He went into a fetal position.
I immediately went to my pen to the paper saying, let's mark this down.
Brandon,
Why? Come on, that could stay.
Brandon's been in a great mood, by the way, all week because he got another broadcasting job. This is not a joke. He will now be the announcer of, what is it again? It's now, girls, it's going to be a spring sport, track and field, women's track and field or something, but you got a new gig.
Yeah, basically, baseball and softball.
Okay.
For
Baseball and softball?
For CSUN, yeah.
For CSUN, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What were we doing before?
Cal State Fullerton men's and women's basketball.
Okay, so different schools, different sports. That's
Yeah.
great, man. You're really spreading out.
Yeah.
By this?
I'm waiting for the joke.
No, the joke is the job you got.
That was good.
Brutal.
Thank you.
Let's stay in Denver and talk about that game. And Tom Brady took a lot of criticism before the game from the Broncos, who really went on him in the press, certainly after the game. A lot of people enjoyed this Patriots loss. I wrote an article about, people just enjoy Patriot and Freud. Kind of Belichick, Brady. They love seeing him lose. You do too. And the wife of Eric Decker, Jesse James, who's also a country star, I believe, has a theory of why Tom Brady gets picked on so much. And she says it's because he's so good looking. That if he wasn't that good looking, people would not pick on him this much. They're jealous, and they just want to go after a guy that seemingly has it all because he's so hot.
That is crazy. Here's why that theory is terrible. I'm going to debunk this right now because Peyton Manning is 1,000,000 times hotter than Tom Brady.
What?
Is 1,000,000 times sexier than Tom Brady. It's like Peyton Manning is, like a male model. Like he is like on the runway. He is in every commercial for a reason because he is gorgeous. Tom Brady, he's not a bad-looking guy, but he's no Peyton Manning. He's no Peyton Manning.
Can you identify with this, getting picked on more because you're a good-looking guy?
More than you? Probably, I would think. I don't really get picked on that much. People are afraid of me. Like people can't even talk to me when I come into work. I don't get picked on at all.
Who's better looking, Eli or Peyton?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough because that third brother is no joke either. The third Manning brother. I would say Peyton. Peyton has got this classic, I'm going to say like a Greek Adonis kind of good looks. You know what I mean? That you would like if you could sculpt your baby's face to look like Peyton Manning. Are you telling me you wouldn't do it right now? If you could just like mold it with your hands, you wouldn't try to make him look exactly like Peyton Manning.
I'm just kind of freaked out by that.
That'd be a good-looking baby. I'm telling you, I'm not alone here. Everyone thinks that Peyton Manning is better looking than Tom Brady.
Not Jesse James. What is this?
Blast from the past. That was Gregg Rosenthal's Korn cover band. They were called On the Cob, and they were something. They were really something back in the day. Greg got so much because of his Korn cover band, On the Cob.
I'm missing Ural Droog this week with these bands in between. I miss him. The Broncos fans enjoyed this victory, as I said, before, during, and after. Viral video this week came out where a Broncos fan had tipped a porta potty over before the game with the Patriots fan inside. And the video is essentially just a gleeful Broncos fans laughing at the fact that some Patriots fan had to crawl out of this tipped over porta potty.
Yeah, I support this 100%. Of course, I hate the Patriots more than I hate, let's say, this network. I love when people tip over porta johns because it's always the guy's fault who got tipped over. Do you know what I mean? You would think it's like a cruel thing if you go to like an away game in the jersey, you do not use the porta potty, and if you do, you get your friends to have your back.
Who knows this? No one knows.
Anyone
that.
who's ever seen a video of a porta potty getting tipped over, it's not the first time. This is not. It might be Manning's last rodeo, but it's not. It's not this fan's last rodeo. They've seen it before. It's happened before. You don't do it. It's like if you get guys at concerts. This happens to where they get in a fight and they're like, "All right, break it up. All right, see, I'm done with this. Screw you guys. I'm gonna go use the porta potty." And they get tipped over immediately. You got to know better. You got to know better.
It's a tale as old as time.
I mean,
the concert fight followed by the tipped over porta potty.
Whoever
happens.
invented the porta potty had this in mind. He knew it was going to happen. I mean, I think it's like it's its first call. It's the first thing you'd look for.
Order one with 2 espresso shots and it called red eye. Ain't no telling how many newspapers I read. Buy several papers and I read them all twice so I can recite them to you backwards, son, I'm nice.
That was your old Droog, bringing it back. Bringing back your old Droog. He was very happy with us last week for playing his new hits. We definitely talked him up last week. Your old Droog is great. Is a big fan of my comedy. A bigger fan than I would say the network is. He loves it. He thinks I'm funnier than George Carlin, and he's right.
Wow.
What's next, Greg?
That's high praise. Do you think that?
I'm the best of all time.
That's what one of those articles we talked about way back in episode 1 or 2.
Do you remember the title of it?
It said Anthony Jeselnik's the greatest stand-up of all time, something like
Anthony
that.
Jeselnik is the greatest comedian who's ever lived. I still have it on my phone. I can show you.
Is it framed in your bathroom?
Nope, that's my New York Times review.
Hot take of the week. We usually do this at the end of the show, but it just fits with what we're talking about right now.
No rules. No rules. We got the Pro Bowl coming up. We're not going to worry about where things go. We're just psyched. We're just psyched about the All-Star game. The All-Star game of All-Star games. The Pro Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Well, the whole thing it's a little distracting knowing that just 4 days from when we're taping this, Team Rice and all the history that comes with Team Rice is going to line up on the field, and you start to think back about all the great moments in Team Rice history, and then they line up against those famous purple uniforms of Team Irvin.
You get Michael Irvin, and you get a hula dancer on one side, and another hula dancer on the other side. I'm in. You're gonna put a flower necklace on him? Oh my God! What time is the game? No one knows, and that's a crime.
But we have to, soldier on and talk about some of the lesser stories, like this hot take of the week. And I'm going to give it to the Denver Police Department. They were the hot takers of the week. They put out a tweet during the middle of last week's game, the AFC Championship, with an emoji and then a missing persons unit headed to Sports Authority Field, that's where they play, to try and locate the Patriots offense. Go Broncos. Do you see what they did there?
I see what they did.
They were
there.
saying they was missing.
Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, you're the police department. All right. First of all, don't jinx your team. It's in the middle of the game. That is insane.
It was in the middle of the game, and someone quickly did put a tweet up that said the Broncos at that point had 40 less yards than the Patriots. Hey, buddy, your offense is led by Peyton Manning, who couldn't do anything. There was 15 drives in that game. If you didn't have the best defense of all time, or at least in this game they wouldn't have won. So,
it's insane. And also, you are the cops. That Twitter account is for Amber Alerts and active shooters. What are you doing making jokes during a game? If anything bad had happened in Denver, if it had been like a radical Islam situation, everyone will be fired. Everyone with a Twitter account will get fired.
You're saying after that tweet, if
it was like, oh, while they're getting cute, it's going down. It's like the middle scene from Heat out there, and this guy's on Twitter messing around. Brandon, you ever see the movie Heat?
Nope.
God.
You also didn't see the movie where the intro to the show. It was a quote from a movie. Maybe we don't have to say it. If you know the movie, you can tweet us at it. I don't know. Unless
Blade
you want to
Runner.
say it. Blade Runner.
It's been so long.
The most annoying part.
If you didn't know that it was from Blade Runner, you turned off the podcast when I said that.
The most annoying part to me, actually, anything to do with the safety of Denver, it's the headline in this Washington Post article, which is such a typical headline for these articles. This is the headline. Denver Police Department absolutely destroys Patriots with masterful troll job.
That's how much.
Oh, yeah. What a masterful troll job from the hijinks, from the comedic geniuses at the police department. They are like the new National Lampoons, the masterful troll job.
Whoever wrote that headline doesn't know what any of those words mean. Your job is to protect and to serve police. Leave the jokes to Damashek. What's next?
They acting trustworthy, but I'm not convinced. Tell me, Lord, why did you make so many snakes? And is it cool for me to punish them for the mistakes? I know I ain't perfect, extremely far from it. I'll get away slick and only you'll know who done it.
What was that?
Snakes, baby, snakes.
Is that the name of the rapper? Is he just a guy who just raps about snakes nonstop?
Yeah,
why
but
is he so upset about why God made snakes?
Not sure.
That's a crazy thing to rap about.
This is, again, we have to play some of the music officially approved by the NFL. That's in-house music. It's not commercial or whatever. That's one of them, Brandon?
Absolutely.
That was played again.
They acting trustworthy, but I'm not convinced. Tell me, Lord, why did you make so many snakes? And is it cool for me to punish them for the mistakes? I know I ain't perfect, extremely far from it. I'll get away slick and only you'll know who done it.
Is it cool for me to punish the snakes when they make mistakes? What mistakes did your snake make? How many snakes does this guy have?
That's the worst rap song since
It's
at the Mall.
Honestly, that guy opened for Talib Kweli. He was one of the openers at this concert. Like, they were all, it was so bad.
Was that like an for a second, I was thinking maybe it's like a kids show. It's like an anti-snake song, like "Stay away from the snakes, kids." We're trying to teach the kids about snakes, but in like a cool hip hop, young type of way.
It sounded like a guy who was doing a karaoke to a hip hop song and like lost his place and just improvised.
The Carolina Panthers won the NFC Championship, and it was not close. I was wrong about the Arizona Cardinals. The Panthers rolled, and a lot of people still not happy about it. Seahawks fans who lost a couple weeks continue to complain week after week. We just keep hearing more whining by the Seahawks fan. This week, a Seahawks fan started a petition on change.org to ban Cam Newton from the stadium's CenturyLink Field. I don't think he wants him back in the city of Seattle at all. They want him to stay away, Anthony.
This is so awful that I kind of love it. Like, Seahawks fans are becoming the new Patriots fans. Like, they expect to win, and when they don't, they act like little children. And let me start with this. Petitions mean nothing. Stop them. Everyone's a petition to ban Justin Bieber, a petition to deport so-and-so. No one cares. Obama's not reading through your signatures, making sure everyone's legit. No one cares. And this petition is even worse than anything else. It's online petition. Ever since Snakes on a Plane bombed to the box office, no one cares what you organize on Facebook. Here's the letter the guy wrote. That's a fact. Ban Cam Newton from CenturyLink Field. He's one of the most unsportsmanlike quarterbacks in the NFL and deserves to be banned from CenturyLink Field. He dislikes Washington as a whole anyways, so why not move to make this possible? That's it. That's all he wrote. There's the top part. Oh, I thought that was just the article. Give me more music. Cam Newton is one of the most unprofessional, unsportsmanlike individual on the face of the planet. So I say for the 2016-17, when the Panthers come to play in Seattle, he should be banned from entering the stadium. This should teach him to put his arrogance in check. 2 exclamation points. I don't even like 1, definitely not 2. You, sir, are racist. I'll say it again. Anyone who doesn't like Cam Newton, anyone who doesn't love Cam Newton is racist. racist. Even my mom tried to say, no, I think it's that he want quarterbacks to act like quarterbacks. My mom's racist. I'm calling it out right now.
You got some notice for your truth to power speech last week about Cam Newton when we were picking on the Seahawks, right?
Oh, yeah, on Reddit. Did you watch that video?
I did not.
I like when people put together things. They produce things for me. They took my rant about how awesome Cam Newton is. Reading the letter that they wrote about tearing down the 12th man flag and throwing it, saying that in Seattle, their quarterback goes and visits sick kids in the hospital. And so they played my clip of me like making fun of this, and then they showed a bunch of pictures of Cam Newton with sick kids in the hospital. Of course Cam does that. Cam is the best. Cam is the best. And if you don't like it, you're Amistad. You hear me? You are Magneto in 12 Years a Slave is what you are if you don't like Cam Newton. Who's the actor? What's his name?
I don't think Magneto, the character's in that movie.
The actor who played Magneto. What's his name?
Forget.
Brandon, you saw it.
I did, but I don't remember.
Michael Fassbender. You're Michael Fassbender in 12 Years a Slave if you don't like Cam Newton.
That's intense.
You are the prosecutors who prosecuted O.J. Simpson if you don't love Cam Newton. You are
Mark Ruffalo, and You Can Count on Me. No?
Is he racist in that? I've never seen that movie.
No.
I bet he was.
I just don't understand.
I know he's racist in real life. Anyone who's like really racist, like the white guys in The Heat of the Night. Gene Hackman in Burning Mississippi. That's what you are if you don't like Cam Newton. I've never really seen the movie. He might be a good guy.
The entire movie, Hoosiers. Maybe that would fit in?
No.
I don't
you're way
get this
off.
game.
You're way off. I mean, I don't understand why you're not clear on this.
Gregg's 0 for 2.
Yeah, Gregg's. I mean, it's 0 for 4. Like he's so far off. He's like playing different games. I don't even count those two. He's just 0 and 0. You are. I can't think of any other racist people. What's another movie about slavery? They've got some. They've always have some. Any white person in Roots, the series. If you don't love Cam Newton, I love Cam Newton. He's my favorite.
Stop my bread and you gon' shed. Have you in the hospital needed. On the streets in the snow you'll see.
See, that was your old Droog again. I think the NFL's going to be psyched when they hear this one this week. They're going to be like, thank you, guys. This is a palate cleanser.
I agree.
They're going to love it.
Our love of football, our love of all things Pro Bowl. Again, Sunday at a time to be determined in Hawaii.
It doesn't even matter what time it is because it's always Pro Bowl time. I'll admit something right now. Since they changed to this new Pro Bowl format, I have not watched the Super Bowl because every year I get ready. I have a party. I get ready to watch the Super Bowl, and then I remember that I've got the Pro Bowl on my TiVo.
Right.
And why watch the Super Bowl when you can watch the Pro Bowl? Why watch regular old rosters when you can watch a super roster of Pro Bowlers? That's what I'm all about.
You were a huge fan of that Kyle Rudolph performance when he won the MVP of the Pro Bowl.
Boom! I got the Kyle Rudolph Pro Bowl jersey, like everybody does.
Air Bud.
A lot of Air Bud action coming at us this week on Twitter, and we always appreciate that. The downside for the Carolina Panthers for making the Super Bowl, rather, is they're going to have to miss the Pro Bowl.
Oh, I mean, Cam Newton is definitely – it's the first time I've seen him not smile when they told him after the game that he wasn't allowed to go. He was devastated.
It's one of the reasons you hate the Patriots so much. All 7 Patriots that made the Pro Bowl decided not to go. Even Malcolm Butler, who was making his first Pro Bowl.
I understand they don't want to tarnish it with their BS, with their Tom Brady tainted crap.
Oh, please. Luke Kuechly and the Panthers are going to the Pro Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl, rather. But Luke Kuechly got the big pick 6 last week. He got the touchdown late in the game, kind of cemented that win. Was a very exciting moment. And when he did, the cameras for Fox could not help but catch a fan get a little too excited, Anthony, and flip forward over the railing onto the field.
Shout out to Josh Hamilton.
I don't even remember the last time I had a wallet. For what? It's only ID in my back pocket. It's rough. Filled out 1 million applications, but I had lint on my tie and my slacks was fading. So the interview ain't go too smooth.
That's a rapper hired by the NFL to talk about his job interview, which I'm assuming he did not get because of the lint on his tie. That guy didn't even mention snakes once. And how were you not ready with that song? I set it up so well. I had my hand up forever.
You did, but I thought we were going to the next one because they're the same topic, kind of. same team.
Why would I have my hand up for a whole another topic? Don't edit this either.
I'm not going to. Don't worry.
With the song.
The tension is thick in the studio today.
He's the only one at the NFL Network that I like.
Brandon?
Yeah.
Wow. Cam Newton and
He's the only one that I've ever talked to.
that's true too. Cam Newton and the Panthers, they've been really embraced by the hip hop community. I don't know if you knew this. There's a picture in the locker room with Cam Newton and DMX and Mike Epps too. And also before the game, I believe Jeezy was there, Future was there. They're all on the sidelines. Just kind of, it's a team that that the Panthers embrace hip hop, and hip hop has embraced them right back.
That's great to hear. If you were gonna have like rappers in your corner, like rappers have my back, but if rappers don't have your back, like who would they be?
You legitimately do have rappers in your corner. I would want C Murder. Do you remember C Murder? He was Master P's brother, who called himself C Murder, and then he murdered someone.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna call yourself C Murder and then you murder someone, I feel like that's a good guy to have on your side. Like he just does not give a. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that he was related to A Murder and B Murder? Because D Murder was dope. He was a cousin.
I would go with Mobb Deep was the other one that came to mind. I don't know why, but living in New York, they just seem to represent that sort of. They just seemed a little scary to me. If I could have Mobb Deep represent me, I would go with Mobb Deep.
Yeah, those are all good choices by you. I've got a couple rappers that definitely have my back. Your old Droog certainly has my back. We've talked about him many times. A guy named Open Mike Eagle, who's a great rapper, once sampled me in one of his songs, which I really liked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he kind of sped it up, so you can't. If you know the line I used, like you get it that it's me, but I wouldn't have understood it. I'm waiting for someone to name drop me in a song. That's what I'm excited about. My friend Jay Farrow said someone dropped him in a song. Apathy actually dropped him in a song.
Well, you need to come up with a good nickname. I mean, a rhyme for Jeselnik.
I told you not to use the N-word on this show. That's gonna have to, Brandon. You have to edit that. Here's the rappers that I would have my back, in addition to the ones who already have my back. Black Rob.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like whoa.
Shine. Shine would have my back, and Mace.
Oh, Mace.
I want someone to have the power of the Lord at my back.
X gon' give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop out from stainless steel.
That was DMX. Shout out to D. What do you think we listened to more in college? That song? We listened to that a lot, or like Whoa, Black Rob? Because I loved that.
You played Like Whoa more than any song since I've met you.
What about Things You Can Do by?
Yeah, that was up there by Deltron.
3030.
That was up there, but I think since I've known you, and I guess we were roommates in various houses for 3 years out there and a couple of years out here. In those 5 years, yeah, Black Rob, you played nonstop for 6 months straight and would not stop. It was a hard song to get too sick of, but whether it was in the car, whether it was at home, like it didn't matter. You would just put it on, and the second it did, you just lit up like a Christmas tree and started dancing around.
It's great. It's a great song. I stand by it to this day. You know what they're gonna play? They're gonna play that at the Pro Bowl for whoever wins. The winners get to go in the locker room and hear that song. It is going to be.
I think they actually got him. Black Rob is doing the national anthem.
Is he?
Before the game, yeah.
I think he's still in jail. Edited for Aloha. It's the Pro Bowl. First off, Brandon, when I go to the bathroom, I tell you, turn my mic off. I don't want you recording. And secondly, I wanted you to play that in the beginning. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm sorry.
Wow. I'll accept it. At least someone around here tells me that they're sorry.
I thought that was like a recording of the Marcus Thanksgiving dinner. Just like that was the conversation going on. Anthony's looking at me.
Who's Thanksgiving dinner?
Brandon Marcus family.
Oh, okay. I didn't know his last name was Marcus.
There you go.
You know what the title of that song is, by the way?
Please.
Drunken Carnival.
You know what I was going to say? It sounds like when Frank Drebin goes into the bathroom in The Naked Gun. And he doesn't know his mic is on, and he goes in the bathroom and starts singing in there. That's what it sounded like. Have you seen that movie?
Nope.
Have you ever seen a movie?
Yes.
I mean, were you raised Amish? I don't understand how you missed Blade Runner, Naked Gun.
What years did they all come out?
Yeah, this is aging you a little bit, Anthony.
Naked Gun is a classic. You've seen Airplane, right?
May have a long time ago.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. Edited for Gregg is fighting for his job.
I used to roll me a big fine L, then watch a whole lot of basketball and Seinfeld true stills.
Your old Droog, that was Basketball and Seinfeld, one of his newer songs. Not 40 Deuce, which I hope we have coming up soon, but Basketball and Seinfeld, which he released a few months ago. Great song with the Seinfeld theme in it, which is cool. People just like it. People like that. What's our last headline, Gregg?
Christie is in the news this week. He's a noted Cowboys fan, as if the Cowboys couldn't get any more unlikable. That image of Chris Christie and Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones hugging at the end of the Cowboys victory over the Lions in the playoffs is one of the funnier and yet distasteful, I would say, images of the last 5 years. Chris Christie is a little worried that Johnny Manziel could be coming to the Dallas Cowboys. He says he will throw his body in front of the Johnny Manziel train if it heads towards Dallas.
I mean, if anyone's body could derail a train, it would be Chris Christie. I think that the people of New Jersey should rise up and throw Chris Christie in front of a train. Forget politics. If the governor of Pennsylvania, who I cannot name, nor would I know the name if I heard it, had an opinion on any team outside of Philly and Pittsburgh that wasn't "they suck, let's kill them," there would be a statewide riot. Can you think of any other representative of a land? And they've got the Giants in Jersey. Is that it? Is that the only team they have?
They got the Jets. You got the Net.
But the Giants play in Jersey. The Jets play in New York.
No, they're in the same stadium.
Okay,
come on, buddy.
Please, yeah. I care about Pittsburgh and nothing but Pittsburgh. So I don't know these other things.
But you're right.
I've never even heard of the Jets.
They have those two football teams. They're close to Philadelphia, so there's a lot of New Jersey.
Yeah, I can see them liking any of those teams. It would be totally fine. But you cannot love the Cowboys, one of the most hateable teams besides the Patriots in the world. Not just the NFL.
If a governor of Massachusetts or someone that was running for governor of Massachusetts openly liked the Cowboys or some other team, that would be it. They're done.
That would be it. It would be over. And now, and Christie's done. I'm not going to vote for him now. I'm not going to vote for him unless he comes out on Team Irvin in the Pro Bowl.
Street scenes, Hollywood strip, out on Sunset, getting it, west side, getting grip, north side, G-trip, east side, banging it, south side, slanging it, California dreams.
That was 3 kids trying to ruin a beat and succeeding.
You reminded me when you were talking about Team Irvin. The thing that people don't talk about the Pro Bowl enough is the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is, great emotion, but there's a lot of heartache too. There's a losing team on the Pro Bowl every year, and I just have to think back a couple of years. I think it was 2014. Team Sanders lost, and not only did Team Sanders lose, they haven't even existed since. Where is Team Sanders? I bought my Team Sanders jersey. They just left town. Now it's Team Rice and Team Irvin. There was a Team Carter once.
Mm-hmm.
They just vanish.
Only St. Louis can understand what you're going through, and I get it. It's a great thing to be invited to the Pro Bowl, but if you lose, you almost wish that you had never been born. If you lose the Pro Bowl, let's take it to recommendation station. Gregg, I've got just a book this week. I didn't get to see a movie this week.
Okay.
It's one of those. That's that time of year for movies where everything sucks. Everything is terrible.
Well, I'm still catching up.
Sure.
I have a lot to catch up on still.
Sure.
So I saw 3 in a row last week. Son of Saul, the Holocaust movie.
Oh, hilarious.
It was good, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for other people. It was a tough.
You tried to get me to go see it with you, and I refused.
It was a tough experience.
I can't. I give the Paul Hall quote: "White people don't want to pay $20 to sit in a movie theater for 2 hours and listen to how up they are."
It was tough, but it was worth seeing. And the Big Short, the Big Short, which I thought they did an awesome job. But I'm going to recommend Anomalisa, the Charlie Kaufman movie, because it passed my one big test for a movie. It's crazy. My wife hated it, absolutely hated it. It's creepy, but I have never seen any movie anything like it. And if you can leave the movie theater and say that you have never seen anything like that, and you will remember it for a long time, that means something.
Sure, I would agree with that. Would you say it's the kind of movie that you should see with someone else? Like, you need to have someone with you to kind of talk about it. Is it like a love story where you'll get depressed if you go by alone? Because every Friday morning I've got to get out of my apartment for a couple hours to let my housekeeper do her thing. And I go see a movie at the movie theater down the street. I might go see Anomalisa, but I can't pull the trigger on Anomalisa. It just seems like what am I doing? What am I doing here with these puppies?
I think you wanna talk to people about it afterwards. That's true. It's not really. It's not so much about the love story and feeling lonely. It's more strange. Creepy.
I'm going to recommend a book and a half, Greg. This is this book I read. It's called The City and the City. You heard me right. The City and the City by China Miavilla. I'm going to go ahead and say that's how you pronounce that name.
I like when you look up.
You look at me like I don't know.
Yeah, you've read The City and the City by China Miavilla. He's a famous artist. I assume a writer. I assume it's a guy. I don't know why I think that. I think I saw a picture. China. Who knows? That could be anyone. That could be a guy or a girl. Great book. It's a science fiction, but it's kind of like a police detective investigation kind of thing. So it's grounded in reality, but in this weird world where I hated it for the first 50 pages, and then I just kept going and then fell in love with it by the end. I always love the phrase that if you read a good book, you do the work for the first 100 pages. And then if the book is good, the book takes over and it does the work for the rest of it. That I thought this was a great example of that. And I just started a book. Brandon, you can even turn your mic off for this. You don't have to even listen because this doesn't apply to you. But Greg, I'm reading your new favorite book. You will love it. It is called A Little Life. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I don't know who. I don't remember the woman author's name.
Yeah,
but I'm 100 pages deep.
I think it's like a Japanese American writer.
And it is incredible. It's about like four friends starting their friendship together in college, and then it goes on through the rest of their life. I'm still just out of the college phase, but it is an amazing book. If you liked, and again, I'm only 100 pages in. I usually don't recommend books until I'm finished with them, but I like this so much. I was up all last night.
Wow.
Really loved it. And if you liked The Goldfinch, it's kind of that sort of writing style that I think you would really respond to that.
Hanya Yanagihara.
Yeah, sure. A Little Life. Look up A Little Life and forget the author's name. It's going to be.
I've been meaning to read that
too
one.
much. The name is so complicated. Greg wanted to marry her.
Oh, please.
That was recommendation station.
The internal biological mental mechanism, let me know the exact time to pass it. Ace, eat a hot dog, get mustard on your face. 42nd Street is the place.
That was your old Droog, 40 Deuce. Again, we're allowed to play as much old Droog as we want because he supports the show. He's given us permission to go nuts with the old Droog.
Every week we have a segment called Ask Anthony, where a listener asks you something. This week, Vic Vinegar went with the quantity over quality approach, asked about 12 questions. And Vic, it worked because one of them is the one that we chose. What has been your favorite aspect, Anthony, of the Rosenthal and Jeselnik Vanity Project?
RJVP. Didn't see that coming. I was a little behind on my RJVP whisper. Sorry, guys. This is an easy one for me. There's only one thing that I even kind of like about this show, and that, of course, is that I get to make fun of Brandon whenever I want. I can just look up and things just pop into my head. You know what I mean? I'm not normally a mean person. I'm not known for my insult humor. But when I see Brandon, it just inspires me to just crush him. And if you saw a picture of Brandon, you would know what I'm talking about. You would know. And of course, no one has ever taken a picture of him. No one would waste the film.
Film, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
How
what
do you like
artists
being?
use.
You're like a muse.
I like that was your comeback. Was just that, not the fact that no one would ever take your picture, like you're a vampire, like you're an Amish vampire. I'm not saying he's pale. I'm pale. He's just not. He's not even ugly. It's just there's no facial charisma. I'm gonna go ahead and say. Would you agree with me?
No, I would disagree 100%.
All right.
If Brandon can ever afford a therapist, this is gonna come up.
I'm your therapist. Also, I like getting to clown around with my best friend Greg. Best friend on the show. I like that I give Greg something to live for. I'm sure it's not easy to be here doing these things that I think. I mean, every week when I try to quit, you really talk me out of it. You enjoy this. This is one of the best parts of your week, and I think you like getting to. It's like I'm a comet rocketing by, and you just get to grab onto the tail and just ride it for about an hour every week, and then let go and kind of just use my momentum to kind of float through space. I mean, I've got a great life, and you have a wife and kids. And like a real job that I think
give me love and contentment, fulfillment. These kids.
Sure, but you don't get to rock like I do. You know what I mean? You don't have a refrigerator full of nothing but champagne and sparkling water like I do. that I like to kind of just let you kind of hang in my aura.
I really wish that people could see the video of Anthony acting out Anthony as a rocket ship flying through the air and me trying to hang on and really getting into it.
I can do it all. 3 dimensions on this podcast.
Our listener of the week is Ice Block Films. That's what he's going by on iTunes. And again, you can leave your comments for us and your ratings on iTunes and subscribe on the show on iTunes. You can go back, listen to all the other episodes as long as the Rosenthal and Jeselnik Vanity Project.
RJVP.
As long as it exists. I mean, it'll be there forever. That's the great thing.
Before you read this, what are the chances this is our last episode?
I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I know.
Oh, I'm saying if it's not up to me, like I will. Let's say I'll come back because you're off next week.
Yeah,
so,
but I'm at the Super Bowl, so we can't do the podcast.
They offered to let me. Brandon, did you know this? They were like, would Anthony go to the Super Bowl, like go do stuff like with Gregg for the week, if we give him a ticket, not a hotel, not transportation, not 2 tickets, so I could bring a friend, 1 ticket.
You are bending the truth here.
No, that's what you told me. Am I wrong? What was the truth?
I don't know. Something.
Wait, now I want to know the truth.
I think I was saying, like, is that a possibility? I don't even know if it would have. I don't even know if that would have happened. It couldn't even get you. Couldn't get you anything else.
I think the most insulting thing they could do, they would have done, and that sounds like it. Maybe like half a ticket. Maybe a ticket for last year's game.
Anthony, it's gonna be tough for Anthony to stay interested in football after the Pro Bowl.
I mean, yeah, as soon as it's over.
So that's a problem. So I hope it keeps going. But like I said, Ice Block Films left this note. Best podcast.
Maybe send me to Hawaii.
Ooh,
I I'll commit to 3 years right now if they send me to Hawaii for the Pro Bowl. Brandon, ask.
Some of the
I will absolutely ask. That would be incredible if that actually happened.
Some of the shadowy league figures are definitely
ask C-Sun or whatever the hell you're coaching now.
The best podcast on earth is what Ice Block Film says. I had a dream, and Gregg and Anthony were coming to Tokyo to do an appearance/signing in celebration of this podcast. I went to it, and Anthony had sent a 10-year-old boy in his place and instructed him to sign everything. What are you going to do about it, Anthony? That's the comment. I like that.
I mean, I did not see that comment. It's pretty good. I have a theory that whenever someone tells you they had a dream about you, that means they want to have sex with you, and they're telling you that. Like, if you want to have sex with me, you can. I had this dream about you. Would you agree with that, Brandon?
I actually would.
Has anyone ever told you that they had a dream about you?
Yes. Surprising, right? Now it's my face.
No, I mean, it's not. I'm saying you're not ugly. It's just unremarkable. Do you know what I mean? It's just like not. It's not pleasing. It's not unpleasing.
I just don't leave a lasting impression.
There.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah, like you could commit a crime and there would be no witnesses, even if you did it in the middle of the Pro Bowl, with everyone watching, with the world watching you.
If you see Anomalisa, you should go see it, Brandon, and think of yourself as one of the faces in Anomalisa. You'll know what I mean.
You need to go see the Naked Gun stat, and then go see Anomalisa.
This one caught my fancy, not only because it was the most recent one, so it just seemed good. We might go to Tokyo. This off season. Anthony has really wanted to go to Tokyo, and me and my wife are going to be going at some point. My wife and our kids will stay there for a while, but I'll go for a week or so. Yeah. And Anthony wants to come along for a few of those days and rock out in Tokyo.
I love that you guys have to decide with you and your wife like how the trips work. So like Gregg wants to like fly either there with me or back with me with just the 2 of us, and then one trip he's got to be with his wife and kids. Which is more fun? Could you imagine me and you on a flight to Tokyo? We would ball so hard. They would divert the flight. It would be a Malaysian flight 93. I'm going to go ahead and call it situation. We would take that thing down. It would be wonderful.
And it would get worse when we get there because we would be welcomed off the plane by Watanabe-san, my father-in-law Takeshi.
I would love it.
Shout out to him. He doesn't listen to the podcast, but no one balls harder than him. He would be greeting us with some bottles probably at the airport, and it would be insanity.
I would love it. And I think it would be nice to have your father-in-law have someone he could like enjoy and relate to and have a good time with. That was Goldie Hawn dancing. That was a shout out to Laughin', Brandon, you ever seen Laugh-In?
Nope.
Did you get the reference when I said Goldie Hawn dancing? Do you know what
I
I'm
know
talking
who
about?
Goldie Hawn is. Isn't her daughter Kate Hudson, or am I
Oh
completely
my
wrong?
God, you were young.
I once dropped off a script. I remember when we were working at Hallway Pictures at Goldie Hawn's house.
I had a interview to be like an assistant at their production
It's
company.
weird how
And they were talking up Kate Hudson and how like great she was. And I was just looking at them like, I'm not getting this job. And I did not. Thank God I did not.
I saw them out to eat once a few months ago. Let's talk about predictions.
Let's do it
this week.
I'm going to do something different this week. We only have one game, and people have been asking about this email I guess I referenced in the first episode, where an ex-girlfriend of mine tried to burn down my life. I discussed this on The Tonight Show once, and this girl and I have since become friends again. I've forgiven her, and now I think this is kind of a funny story. But I've never actually read the email in its entirety. So I know we're going long here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of edits this week that will cut some time out. But this is worth saving. This is worth savoring. If the podcast lives on in any sort of way, it will be because of this email. So give me your prediction, and then I'm going to couch my prediction in this email from my ex.
We might as well pick the Super Bowl, or should we pick the big game, the Pro Bowl?
I don't want to pick the Pro Bowl because I want to just enjoy it as a fan. It's almost like how Chris Collinsworth won't predict the game that he's in.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
There's too much emotion at stake when Irvin and Rice match up.
Mm-hmm. And I speak for both of us when I say we've got a lot of money on this game.
Oh, of course.
Our life savings.
Right. When you think Irvin and Rice, you think really the Lombardi and the Belichick of their eras as coaches, just as masterminds. They get that team.
As people.
And they only have a couple days to get them ready, and yet they come out there with some really innovative stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Football at its finest.
The prediction I have for the Super Bowl is not going to be welcomed in the Milner household. That's my uncle and my cousin Justin Milner, and they're big time listeners of the show. At least my uncle is. I think they're Denver Broncos fans, by the way, and I think they're going to be disappointed. I don't think this is going to be like a couple years ago. John Elway, when he saw that loss, wanted to build a tougher team, a bully, a better defense, and he's done it. He's basically done it, and so their reward will be they'll keep the Super Bowl closer. It's going to be one of those Super Bowls that's totally unmemorable. We haven't had one of those in a while, where it's just 28-13. It's not an exciting blowout. The Panthers are totally in control the whole time. They're just simply the better team, and Peyton Manning goes out on a losing note. That's my prediction.
Okay, that's a good prediction. Now let me set up this email. I was working on a TV show called The Unit, which was a TV show that aired for a couple seasons on CBS. I was an accounting clerk. That was my day job while I got good at stand-up. And I got a development deal with MTV to do a TV show where I was a comedian who had a day job that he hated and was trying to get out of it. So he just hated his boss, and then he would go out at night and be good at stand-up. And that was the premise of the show. And I kind of made it just about the people that I worked with, thinking no one's ever going to see this. And then I broke up with a girl who was kind of internet savvy, and she took the treatment and then made up an email address.
The treatment is what?
A treatment is like kind of just talking about the characters in the TV show and what the TV show is to people who had never seen it. And I didn't even change names in the treatment that she got a copy of until she made an email account called theunitsnitch@gmail.com and then emailed my boss. And then my boss read this email, brought everyone else from my office that was mentioned in it into her office to read it, and then brought me in to read it. And I'll read the email right now. This is one of the worst moments of my life I'm going to here. Subject, information about Anthony Jeselnik. Hi, Cindy. First and foremost, please forgive us for wishing to remain anonymous. We just want to do this quietly without causing major office drama. Frankly, we're fed up with Anthony and believe the amount of special treatment he receives is extremely unfair. Although we like Anthony outside of the office, his work ethics are despicable. Below are just a few examples of what he really does while he's here. He constantly tells us how he hates working under you and Chris, and how he plans on letting his workload pile up until January, when one day he's going to come into the office, tell you off, and hopes you'll fire him on the spot. He wants to get fired now, but he can't afford it. He plans on living off unemployment, but right now the amount of unemployment he'd receive isn't enough, and he'll receive more money if he waits until January. Every time...
I was going to say, that all checks out.
Oh, yeah. These are not exactly lies, but you don't want to say it in polite company. Every time you two argue, he laughs about it to us and tells us how psychotic he thinks you are and how your son should be taken away from you, etc. He has no respect for you or anyone else here. He constantly surfs the internet, checks and returns personal emails, and downloads music and videos. Every time we walk by his computer, he's on the website MySpace or ESPN or reading message boards. He's either late or leaves early, saying he has meetings to attend. He tells you that because he knows you'll believe it. He went out of town 3 weeks ago, is going out of town next weekend, and again at the beginning of December for an entire week. Why is he allowed to take so much time off? We don't think the extra hours he puts in covers it. It's just not fair. He uses company time to write jokes for his comedian career and works on his MTV show. His MTV show, by the way, is based on our office and coworkers, including you and Chris. He has turned both of you into characters. Below is an example of what we found in his computer, which he wrote on company time and submitted to MTV. And this is now part of the treatment. The show is called Day Job. This show operates under the assumption that the day job is a horrible thing and that anyone who enjoys work is a complete moron. That may be a harsh assessment, but it is certainly true. A day job is not a career. No one, regardless of sex, race, age, or orientation, has ever felt anything but hatred for a day job, yet it is a necessity of survival. Day jobs pay rent, credit card debt, student loans, and bar tabs. Secretaries, clerks, and assistants move through the awful purgatory of the day job to gain experience, so they might one day embark on fulfilling careers. Young people slaving at a day job are angry young people, and they should be. Where to channel that anger? This show suggests that frustration should be taken out on the one day job representative that's not in it for the short term, the boss. The day job in question here is a small office housing the following: the boss's secretary, the first assistant, the office supply manager, the receptionist, 5 computers, rows upon rows of filing cabinets, and Anthony. Anthony's the office anti-hero, displaying zero respect for authority, essentially performing no productive tasks for the office, yet managing to be popular and respected man on the job. Having either quit or been fired from every possible job in the area, he cannot lose this one. Anthony carries a chip on his shoulder the size of the punk rock movement and behaves as a borderline sociopath. The choices he makes in life are not based on right or wrong, rather the level of possible embarrassment and effort required. Anthony is also a wannabe stand-up comedian, too clever by 3/4 and operating under the belief that any day now he'll be plucked from day job obscurity and put on Letterman, not Leno. Considering Anthony lives in Pittsburgh, not Los Angeles or New York, this is a pipe dream to all but him. Anthony has no respect for anyone he considers an authority figure. However, our anti-hero more than makes up for it with humor and raw charm. The boss lady. Her name is Cindy, and she is the worst. All caps. Playing favorites, completely irrational and utterly irrelevant. She feels that since she makes the most money, she should have to do the least amount of work. Cindy, despite making her pay rank known to all, is constantly having tax problems and lives on the brink of financial ruin. Could owning 7 horses be the problem? She'll never admit it, but she has to leave work constantly to deal with her pet/friends. Cindy likes Anthony, but only because she doesn't know how he truly feels about her. The first assistant, Chris, is a sycophant, completely disrespected by everyone in the office. Overweight, all Gary talks about is sports, go into ridiculous details about statistics, and comedy, describing entire episodes of South Park, while making up outrageous lies about his personal life to build himself up to an apathetic staff. He somehow manages to actually do less work than anyone but Cindy, although he's supposed to be the workhorse. Chris hates Cindy, but praises her constantly while barely concealing his desire to replace her. Now this goes back to my ex just talking to Cindy. Anthony constantly teases us, and while we brush it off as him just being him, it hurts our feelings and leaves us unfocused. It is to the point where we dread working with him and are uncomfortable around him. He's intimidating, rude, and obnoxious. It's extremely unpleasant. Witnessing him receiving so much special treatment and getting away with everything is decreasing staff morale. We enjoy working here and value our jobs. Anthony does not. Anthony makes a mockery out of our office and doesn't want to be here. Everyone knows that. It's insulting and frustrating to see him get away with so much while we do this grunt work. We suggest you beat him at his own game and let him go now, sticking it to him when he can't afford it, instead of letting him win and screwing us all over in January. There are plenty of people who would love to have his job and who would actually work. Now, imagine...
Wait, you're actually still back to being semi-friends with this girl?
Yeah, it was like so ridiculous. And I didn't speak to her for years. And then it was so ridiculous that it was like kind of funny. And once my boss forgave me, like my boss cried. Like the assistant guy never talked to me again.
Did you end up actually quitting in January?
No, I worked for a little bit. I lost the job when there was a writer's strike that happened. So like I just got kind of laid off like everybody else did, and they finished that for me. But like that night, they all thought it was funny because it was obviously my ex who was doing this. They were like, no one here would. If someone was complaining about you, and everything they said was true about me, by the way. But everyone knew it and thought it was kind of funny. And so like
or at
that
least
night,
that's your interpretation of it. One of the guys didn't talk to you.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, at the time, though, they thought it was funny. They were like, oh, this is crazy that your ex would do this. My boss had to report it to her boss because it was sent to her company email. She was like, they could see this. So that night, they're like laughing about how crazy this is and like, don't respond to her, just like let it go. I didn't speak to her again for like years. But then the next day I came into work and they had all had the night to think about it. And it was so like spot on and like details about their lives that they never forgave me. Like my boss was crying. I went in and I was like, do you want me to quit? This is so awful. And a couple years later, they like, once I kind of, made it and got some fame, they would all kind of get in touch with me, or Cindy did anyway, and like kind of laughed about it now. But so I kind of forgave, the ex.
That's big of you.
But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was a rough one. Imagine like I was sweating so hard reading this with all of them just staring at me.
How old were you at the time?
God, this was
26 or so, maybe.
yeah, it was about 10 years ago. So yeah, I was about 26, 25, 26. That was a rough one.
Did she really own 7 horses?
She had a lot of horses.
Brandon, did you, when you heard the description of how Anthony joked around but made fun of all the people around him at work and how it made them feel, did you identify with that at all?
I did. It made me sad. I hope one day I can forgive Anthony for this.
By the way, Carolina wins. Oh, sweet Carolina, making up for slavery in a tight game.
Sit back and enjoy the ride. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
That wasn't long enough, but that was Sit Back and Enjoy the Ride by Unknown, the official song of the Pro Bowl. Greg, this might be our last show. I can see the NFL listening to this and being like, guys, get out of here. Stop wasting company resources and time. But if it's not, let me know, how are the God Kids doing? How are your daughter and son, Walker and Ellis?
Well, like I told you, they moved into, Walker moved into Ellis's room, and it was the cutest thing the other night. Walker just basically making all these sounds all day, and then Ellis wants to come over to him and sort of
Pro Bowl fever, catch it!
Hi and hello, football fans. Your old pal Dave Damashek here. Make sure you check out the Dave Damashek football program. You can watch it on YouTube, NFL.com. You can listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher or NFL.com/podcasts. We look at the world of pro football and the game called life.